Hello, welcome to this supplementary video on the grammar of Lily de Silva lesson 15. This is supplemental to the previous video that I've just done on this, and it covers a bit of the material, including the illustrative sentences that wasn't covered in the previous one. Let me now go to my iPad screen. One point that I omitted to mention in the earlier video was an ambiguity of form. I mentioned that we have the optative here, I'm underlining here on my screen, labheta in Pali, which is the optative atmanepada, kind of the middle voice as it were. Labheta in Pali, labheta in Sanskrit. Note also, of course, that I mentioned it earlier, but I didn't connect the two, that the second person plural, one of the optative endings is eyata, or pachayata, labhayata, but there is also an alternative form of eta, or labheta, pacheta, for the parasmaipada, that's the transitive active form of the second person plural. So what happens then is that you are going to get this form labheta, and you will have to determine by context whether it is second person plural atmanepada or third person singular parasmaipada. I'm about to call up for you a verse in the Dhammapada that we did that actually illustrates where this potential ambiguity exists. It is in Dhammapada, chapter 2, verse 7, verse 27 in the consecutive numbering. Enlarge it for you. It says, Ma pamadam anuyunjeta, ma kamarati santavam, appamatto hijhayanto papoti vipulam sukham. If you look at this anuyunjeta, from the root yuj, meaning to join, so anuyunjati, to join along, to hitch yourself up to something. It means apply yourself to it or indulge yourself in it. Now, here we've got ma pamadam anuyunjeta. Now that could be second person plural, talking to you in the plural of the parasmaipada. Do not engage. Or optative here, ma with the optative, meaning it like an advice, not an exact command, but you should not do it. Ma pamadam anuyunjeta. Now, with this ambiguity I've just mentioned to you, this could be parasmaipada, second person plural, you should not engage in pamada, or it could be the impersonal third person, meaning one. Very often you see something expressed in the third person, meaning one generally. So, ma pamadam anuyunjeta, he should not engage in pamada. So there we are. Normally this would be conjugated as a parasmaipada verb. So I would expect this to be the second person plural optative parasmaipada, but the rules as for the use of the atmanepada are a little bit fluid in Pali, especially in the later literature and the poetry, which is what we have here. And so it wouldn't surprise me say to be told that this was intended as a third person singular optative atmanepada. So I just mention that as an example of this ambiguity. So we will now deal with the bits in lesson 15 grammar that I didn't deal with in the earlier video. Down to paragraph 2, section 2 near the bottom of page 59. We have just a bit of vocabulary, both sache and yedi, both meaning if. There's no distinction of meaning between them. Note that sache and yedi can both begin a sentence. There is an alternative form of if, which is just che, and in Sanskrit it is chet, part becomes che, which is used only as an enclitic. In other words, it's got to be tacked onto the end of a word. And we have one actually in the first verse of the Dhammapada, chapter 1, verse 1, second line, which goes manasa che paduktena bhasativa karutiva. So if with an evil or evilly inclined mind, bhasativa karutiva, he speaks or acts. It could equally well have been put yedi paduktena manasa, if with an evilly disposed mind, or sache manasa paduktena. But note in this verse, I'll actually call it up for you on the annotated version. Here we are. Launch it a bit. So there we are. Manasa che paduktena. You could not have put che manasa, because che cannot begin a sentence. It must, or cannot begin a word group. It must be annexed to one of the substantive words. So with a mind, if ill-willed, manasa che paduktena, and we have it again in line 2, in verse 2, manasa che pasannena. Again the same. You could have said yedi pasannena manasa or sache manasa pasannena. Silva goes on to mention cha, which we all know, meaning and, equally an enclitic. Pi also, or two, this pi. In Sanskrit it is api. Broadly speaking, just means two or also. It also can mean something of an emphatic, sabbe or sabbe pi, like in fact not just all but every single one, sabbe pi. Na, we know that is a preclitic, so that it goes before the word that it negates. And just look at this one at the bottom of the page, via. Normally that appears as va, just means like, and it's the one that in Sanskrit is iva. And I repeat, not to be confused with eva, which is an emphatic tending to mean only. This is iva in Pali, via or va, and also sometimes in Pali you do see iva. All of those three forms can be used in Pali. We now go over to page 60, examples in sentence formation. These are all illustrations of the use of the optative in conditional sentence, hypothetical sentences. It's not exactly the same as the conditional mood, but it generally expresses a kind of a hypothetical situation. If such and such would happen, or I might do so and so. It doesn't always occur in an if sentence. It can also occur, as we know, in sentences involving a general suggestion or advice that one should behave in a certain way, for example. So sentence number 1 then, near the top of page 60. Sache su bhattam pachaya aham bhunjayami. If he would cook rice, I will eat. Or that's not perfect English. If he would cook rice, were he to cook rice, if he cooks right, were he to cook rice, I would eat it. If he cooks it, I will eat it. So we're talking about a hypothetical situation in the future that might or might not arise. Note that in English we tend to say, if such and such happens, that's hypothetical. If that were to happen, then I will do so and so, expressing it as an indicative. In Pali, in a sentence like that, there is a tendency to express both verbs in the optative, which is what's done here. Sache so bhattam pachaya aham bhunjayami. Bhunjayami. Were he to cook rice, I would eat it. And remember from earlier that we've got these alternative forms, which I have written for you. Yeah. So sache so bhattam pache aham bunje, but they're equally correct. Bunjeyum, bunjeyami. So bunjeyam is plural. Bunjeyami or bunjeya or just bunje. Sentence 2. If you would like, I will question the thief. Sachetuam ichayasi aham choram puchayami. And number 3. If I dwell in the city, he too would come to the city. I mean, the idea being it's uncertain whether or not I will dwell in the city, but if that comes about, then he too would come to the city. So, yedi aham nagare vihareyami, not viharami, but vihareyami, sopi nagaram agachaya. You could also put this as ahanche, not rather than yadi aham, if I, but ahanche, also meaning if I. Ahanche nagare vihareyami, sopi nagaram agachaya. And in the plural, if they cook rice, we will eat. I think this is the earlier sentences just transposed into the plural. Sachete bhattam pachayum mayam bunjayama. If they cook rice, we will eat. Or, were they to cook rice, then we would eat. Sachete bhattam pachayum mayam bunjayama. If you so wish, now in the plural, Sache tumhe ichayata mayam chure puchayama. If you wish, were you to wish. If you so wish, it's more like were you to wish. Sache tumhe ichayata mayam chure punchayama. And if we dwell in the city, or if we were to dwell in the city, they too would come or will come to the city. Yedi mayam nagare viharayama tepi nagaram agachayum. And again, you could say mayanche. If we mayanche nagare viharayama tepi nagaram agachayam. Good, that brings us to the end of this short supplementary video.